Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the Pimp Slap P.O.D., Mike M.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike, money's killers, Mike even make the evening news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Sports Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up, and welcome back. It's Last Call, baby. Here we go. Tuesday, March the 12th, and what a day we've got ahead of us. We've already had some afternoon college March Madness action. It's going to roll on into the evening. How about the last game of the evening? It isn't even a true West Coast team out there, 11:30 p.m. Eastern, and we've got ourselves a ton of hockey tonight. I think it's a 10-game hockey slate. We've got a pretty big NBA card as well. I want to say it was seven games in the NBA. And, of course, we're wedged in between there. The sandwich, the cream inside the Oreo cookie, if you will, is going to be our college basketball plays. Of course, it's Tuesday. That means we welcome in Tuesday's resident guest here for Last Call, Billy Briz. We're going to get them bills with Billy Briz tonight. Excited about the card. And we came off a really nice night last night. So why not keep the momentum rolling? I'll tell you, I spent the last hour before final cuts here just staring, trying to see where that final cut was going to come, and I couldn't find it. So we're going to roll big tonight. In fact, we're not going to shy away here. We had a great night last night. We're going to step in and go big tonight. Excited about laying out the action for everybody tonight. You guys just getting in here, you know the deal. Smash that thumbs up button for us and help us crack the code. If you're just getting home from work, you're trying to figure out what you're going to have for dinner, you're looking in the liquor cabinet, thinking about your cocktail mix here for your happy hour with Last Call. Let us help you figure out what bets you're going to put your cash on tonight collectively, not just from the panel, but you know the chat is oh so sharp. In fact, we need you to do three things when you come in to watch Last Call. First and foremost, smash the thumbs up button. Show the appreciation. You like what you're seeing. You like the content. You're making money. Oh, even if you're fading out there, then hit that thumbs up and show us that you appreciate us getting out here live, giving it to you guys all for free out there. Two, we ask you, grab a pen and paper, not just from the plays that the panel shares. I mentioned that chat. They are oh so sharp, and they're getting sharper by the day. I love it. I love what's going on here. Excited every day to come in, hear what you guys have to say from a play perspective. Love the insights, love the trends. All that stuff gets me excited to come back in every day and give you guys my best. And, of course, last but not least, throw the plays in the chat there. Let's recognize the action you guys are on as well. This is a community effort. We're building a community here in Pub Sports Radio. We do it better than anybody. Nobody brings angles, trends, analytics, cash flow movement, injury updates, and everything else together like this Pub Sports Radio community. So keep growing with us. We're only getting bigger and better. Of course, you know there's a big get-together next week down there in San Antone. But we got to get some cash going now before we get rolling on it there. And it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I mentioned that already. Oh, there's games going on right now. I had to turn the TV off. I had to turn it on. I don't want to get distracted here. We got to put all our effort in. We got to keep a brisk pace because it is a monster card tonight. So we're opening up. We can't take anything for granted. We got to keep it sharp as attack, and we got to keep it moving brisk so that we can get through all of the plays tonight. Let's see what's doing up in this chat here. Appreciate you guys coming in again. Smash that thumbs up button. We will get rolling momentarily. But shout out our guy, Brian Watson, the first guy in the house tonight, says more winners soon out there. And there's our guy, the Futon Bets there. First play in the chat today. Appreciate you. Futon Bets says, Bryant, Moneyline, what's up, buddy? Let's get this cash. I like that Bryant spot quite a bit tonight. I'll tell you what. I said that I had a hard time with the college or with all the cards, the final cuts and all of the cards. So I'm excited to bring our guy, Billy Briz, and see what you guys have cooking for us while we finalize and narrow down these selections throughout the night. Brian Watson likes that Avs over 6.5. Mill over Milwaukee, I believe he's saying over 236 for him. Brian Watson, we appreciate you, Sharon, always being in here rocking with us. Oldies in the house says, what up, you dirty dogs? Juggler 23, the wise guy overnight plays of the day, 99 and 66 against the spread year to date. Holy smokes, Juggler 23. What a record that is. Likes the Wizards -2 And the Clippers -6 here. We're going to talk about quite a few of those games you guys have already dropped out there. Mr. Bates in the house. Here's his play of the day. He likes the Pacers game over 240. And of course, T on the ones and twos. You already know he keeps it tight and right, keeps us moving like a well-oiled machine. He says, smash the like button. Pummers, let's go out there. Do it for our guy T today here. That's all we ask you to do. Show the appreciation and respect for one of the hardest working producers in the business out there. Ron Lofton's in the house. Says, gentlemen, let's go. Philly Eagle Flyer, ready to rock out there. Nunya. And there's our guy Jay Peasy. This just in. Mike Money's Killers made the evening news. Our guy Jay Peasy, if you didn't know, he wrote the intro. He's all over Pub Sports with the bars he drops out there, and he keeps it going better than any intros in the business here at Pub Sports as well. I get proud about that. I love when everybody's contributing, the effort we're all putting forward to make this channel unique and build this community. Old East has absolutely smashed so far, 3-1 today. Ready to keep it ripping. Go get it. Old E, my guy, get your cash out there. Swizz in the house says, we be bubbling. Swizz says, great night last night. It was a great night there. It was a lot of fun. And there's our guy Dan from Down Under. Says, LFG boys, let's go out there. Let's get it done. Philly Eagle Flyer, one of the best names in the business. Says crew first half, draw, full game crew out there. I think that's going to be some MLS soccer, but we'll see what he says there. There's Abel A in the house. Winner Circle likes the Jalen Brunson over 27.5 points in the NBA game out there. What a mess that Knicks game was the last time out, but they are rolling again. Somehow they let him play again. After you score 145 combined points between the two teams, you get to go back at it again. We have some numbers to talk about that as well. Fletcher Berry says, since he couldn't cover that afternoon line, Mike, but when they were down, I hedged him plus 350 just to break even. I think lost nothing gained. Yeah, it was a great live spot there. Second half went down to 5. And, I thought the way they rebounded in that game there was no reason that it shouldn't have gone the way it did. But they had the opportunity right off the hop in the game to bury the dagger. And they were up quite a few points, but they kept shooting those stupid threes. And they were just trying to dial in there. Like their first 5 field goal attempts were just straight up misses. So, I don't know. We move on. We move forward out there. Glad to hear you got the money line, though. Fletcher Berry, my guy. That's always a great kind of thing to kind of keep an eye on there, right? When you get somebody telling you they like a play and you get a spot to take it at plus 350, that's what we did on Sunday with that live stream as well. Plus 575 spots out there. You got to take advantage. You got to take your shots when you can out there. Talk Sports with JT's in the house. He likes Gonzaga in the first half, -1.5. Those Zags are hot, man. It's a blueprint as far as these games and what happened in that previous game against San Francisco. And they did it again. I mean, shit, they were down 2 points at halftime, and then the Zags just buried the dagger and win that game by 12 points. Disappointing out there. But yeah, I could see that Zags first half -1.5. Dan Kelly says Sixers Knicks total should be about 137 tonight. I think he's talking about the full game too, which makes a lot of sense. Ron Lofton's in the house says need the Hurricanes money line to complete a plus 192 parlay with LaSalle. What a LaSalle comeback that was. Appreciate you rocking with us. Ronnie Lofton, Jay Stone 9's in the house out there. Let's roll. Old. He says was hoping for a +4, but I took the hook. St. Mary's plus 3.5 in the full game. And Fletcher Berry says that's it. The pimp thought they would cover. And at plus 350 money line, how could I not look for those live spots? That's how we make this cash. And let's go out there, Dan. Yeah, you got the laugh out of me, my guy. I'm surprised they even let him play again. They should have forfeited this game for poor sportsmanship that last game around there. 79-73, I think, was the final. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Guys, smash the like button. We're going to get rolling here momentarily. But before we do, transparency is paramount to what we do here. It's all about this deal here. Don't matter how much you're playing them for here. We measure it in the unit, and we're talking about a 6-3 day yesterday. We paid up for that Boston under 6 in the NHL. We got the 6. I kind of had a sneak. I thought it would be the other way. In full disclosure, I thought 4-2 Boston might be the trick there, 4-1. But St. Louis battled hard from start to finish out there. We were lucky to get that push, but sometimes you got to pay up a little bit there. An extra 15 cents to catch the push instead of taking a full unit loss there is every day where I'd like to be in those spots out there. It was a low line for a reason. It was a low game. But they got the 6 and it was a push. So it is what it is. That Rangers under 6.5 though was all cash right from the hop, 0-0 first period. And it just kept staying low. I think the final score was 3-1, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 3-1 for easy under 6.5. And speaking of easy, that LA Kings -1 We nailed that rested advantage. The rest versus the unrested teams out there. Give me the rest, especially at home every day of the week here. Speaking of which, we have a game that falls under that criteria tonight in the NHL. The Kings -1 was a nice little plus 106 casher out there. Shout out to our guy, but I forgot who it was that gave us the plus 106 there. Dug it up out of Bookmaker, and we got that cash. Let's roll. Weber State first half under 66 cash for us. That was a great play out there. Talk about being dialed in. I sent this out on Twitter last night, but you got to think about these game scripts and how this shit goes down, right? We talked about Weber State. We said the first half, tight game, chess match. Second half blows it open. They scored 100 points in that second half there. Monster score to get that cash with Weber State. First half under 66. And San Diego State, South Dakota State. I'm sorry. I got to start writing these things out. South Dakota State -2.5. The Jackrabbits, baby. They handled that thing easy peasy. Speaking of JPZ out there, I see him. Montana first half. Another situation. Remember specifically what we talked about in that game. We got this Portland State team. It's all or nothing for these guys. And what do? They throw up a meaningless point there at the end of the game to get the backdoor cover. But we won. We got that first half -4. Nailed that spot as well. San Fran +9.5. Man, I was really, I guess you could hope in one hand and crap in the other, as they said from grumpy old men, and see which one fills up first. But San Fran +9.5. I had hope. I had expectation. Gonzaga's just that much better than San Francisco. Golden State -4.5 gets the cash for us. And Dallas over 232.5. Now, let me talk about being disrespectful. Fucking Chicago Bulls put 14 points up in that first half. What? I don't understand it. What a terrible the first quarter. The first quarter was, and it was still they still had 60 points. For the quarter, they just couldn't get they just couldn't get there at the end of the day. It just couldn't get there. And of course, that's hit the bed on the parlay. Cade Cunningham got his points, but it doesn't matter because we double dipped some of those player props in the Voos spot and the Kobe White spot, and game let us down. We didn't get the points that we thought, so we lost the over 232.5 in Dallas, and we lost the prop there. Listen, I'll take a swing every day of the week, and I want to catch some of these, not lose them. But at +523, we still had a 3-unit profitable day, a 6-3 day. We had some plus money along the way to kind of keep that juice down for us, and we made some smart plays with the push. We took a big swing for a 5-1 score, and we netted the day positive. If it could all go that way, I would take it every single day. So let's bear that in mind as we move forward. But it is indeed the best time to be involved in the sports handicapping business here. We're making plays, we're making cash, and we're making friends along the way. I love what you guys are sending back and forth with me out there, getting plays, sharing your angles with me, talking trends and sides and totals. I love every minute of it. I get it. Up until about 3:30 in the morning East. At that point, I got to shut it down. I got to pull the batteries out and recharge them a little bit because it takes a lot to get going again the next day. So let's keep it rolling out there. Tori Coker's in the house. JPZ says Bruins smash my bankroll. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with your comment, JPZ. I agree. That Bruins spot was disrespectful, right? Let's go there. Let's talk about what it is. And Oldie says, I'm fixing to go wet. Go get it, my guy, Oldie. Go get whatever it is you're talking about getting there. It's all about that time to pump it up and get rolling. Nunny's in the house. He likes Nemar, 13+ points, 5+ assists. The Zags first half, full game, same game parlay, +750. We'll put that on the big screen for you guys if you want to tail my guy, Nunya. It's all about Nunya business out there. Let's go, Nunya. Get that cash, my guy. Kelly D's in the house. Big totals move. Denver, South Dakota State, 163 all the way down to 154. Under ? I saw that number. Like I said, I had a tough time kind of getting there on a lot of this college basketball card, specifically because there was a lot of movement. These are big games, man. These are big opportunities to make things happen, and nobody wants to go home. So they know the dancing is on the line. We got semifinals, we got finals, we got all kinds of things popping off in college hoops tonight. It's very, very tricky spot to be. Ron Lofton says, could use a little run from Rhode Island. Not me. I'm on St. Louis. I took that St. Louis side there. I hate Rhode Island. Not the state itself. I don't feel like I do about Rhode Island as I do with Georgia, but the A-10, those guys just have done me dirty a lot. Carolina Debs says, so Jalen Brunson over 27.5. I believe that was the play out there. I think so. That Knicks game, I'll talk to you guys about some trends that say that thing should go over. We'll handle that when we get to the NBA. AOD says, Mike, we love you, brother. Oh, man, thank you, AOD. Appreciate you being in here on the regular, my guy. There's Justin McCalvey. Says, what's good, Brian Watson? Buck scored 9 fourth-quarter points a few days ago. I know. I was on an over in that game, and I think it stayed under. Mel says, really wanted to be on Florida, but with Ekblad out, I stayed off in that Florida game for Mel. We know she's a sharp hockey capper. She did grab the Wild in regulation at minus 120. Not mad at that spot whatsoever. Not one that I've got covered. So definitely want to keep an eye on that. If you guys are into the NHL and following our chat, Mel is one of the sharpest minds we've got out there in the NHL, bringing the heat for us there, saying Wild in regulation. Not, I see it. I see what you guys are saying. Terry Coker says, my best bet, Hurricanes -2. You're talking about the Carolina Hurricanes or the Miami Hurricanes? Because I could see them both going at that -2 number out there. Ron Lofton says LFG Rhode Island +3.5, +2.5. And Joseph Thompson says, sound like no worries, man. He says, I'm driving back to work. Don't have college basketball bet up, but cash to Cleveland stayed over. Shout out to you, Joe T. We appreciate you. When you get the opportunity, we know you're working hard, guy, all over the place, and shared that winner with us last night. So we appreciate that, my guy. That was good cash. Good money, as my guy Dutch Boy Fresh likes to say. Mouse has already cashed a team total play of the day, New Hampshire. First half, team total under 28.5. Easy. I'm on the under in that full game. So I need a couple more breaks to go my way. Carolina Tess says, I gotcha. I'll wait on NBA calls. I love the pub. And then Tori Coker says, Miami. Well, let's get rocking. You guys have been in here waiting long enough. Let's go without further ado and talk about tonight's card. I got a good feeling about tonight here. Every time I feel that way, we see what happens. There's mixed results, but I love everything we got going on. I think we had enough to be selective, but still open this can of worms up and really try to bang on these bookies' heads like a baby seal with a club. And that's what I expect to do tonight. Look, not touching this Blue Jackets-Canadians game. I don't have any interest in it. Didn't even look at it. I saw these two teams playing. This is one of those games. If they both lost at the same time, I wouldn't even be surprised. I don't know how that's possible, but I wouldn't be surprised. Rangers-Hurricanes game. Tricky spot. Rangers-Hurricanes. Look, we've got the rest versus no rest situation. We've got the home rested team. I was close to pulling the trigger on Carolina in regulation. I was that close to getting it done. Carolina Hurricanes in regulation, but I think this is a lower scoring game. And I expect these two teams to be battling, not the Florida Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers to be battling for the Eastern Conference Finals. It would not surprise me to see a 2-2 game going into overtime in this, even a 1-1 game, lower scoring output. The Rangers have been back on that lower scoring trajectory. Carolina's kind of loaded for bear. They've been out there hunting, but this is definitely a playoff matchup. I do love the opportunity though, with that rest versus unrest situation. We do have the Hurricanes in that position. So I just want to have full disclosure with you guys. I'm not making an official play on it. But I'm right there. I see the lines moving as well. I just couldn't nail it down. Yeah, big game. There's two big games, I think. There's this game, and there's one that I will have action on in that Florida Panthers Dallas Stars game. So we'll get there when we get there, but let's keep rolling. Let's talk about the first game I do have action on. Let's open up the card tonight, and let's look right down the thruway, the old I-90 on down to the 716. That is Buffalo hosting the 313 in the Detroit Red Wings tonight. We got ourselves a battle on our hands in this game. I got to keep it moving fast. Our guys are ready to pop, and I don't want to keep them waiting. So let's get into this. Let's talk about this game. Look, two things going on. First and foremost, we have Leon going in net, 18, 12, and 2 for Detroit. He's got a 2.93 goals against average and a 90.8% save percentage. We've got Luukkonen on the other side, 20, 16, and 3 with a 2.42 goals against average and a 91.5% save percentage. Leon's been playing a lot. This is his 5th game in 6. And he's certainly not, or I'm sorry, Detroit has lost 5 games. Leon has a 6th start in 7 games. So he's allowed 4 or more goals in 4 straight games. That's good enough to post an 0-4. And kind of the insult to injury here was that 4-0 loss to Arizona. 4 goals on 24 shots for Leon. On the other side of things, not equally restless, but certainly a guy that's played quite a bit of games as well. And Luukkonen, 11 starts in the last 12 games, but looking pretty solid. 30 saves on 32 shots in that 3-2 Edmonton loss in overtime. So, they took the L. That's what happens when you got a mediocre team, but they played hard in that game. I thought they were going to catch that W. They should have caught that W. That being said, we got a couple spots that I'm looking at here. We know the situation with Detroit right now. They're struggling. Why are they struggling? Well, their number 1 goal scorer, Dylan Larkin, is out. And it's interesting, the numbers. 8 goals in the games that they played without Dylan Larkin, just 8 total. It's a 5-game losing streak. So they're certainly struggling to find the back of the twine, as they say, without Dylan Larkin, the number 1 scoring guy out there. The other side of this thing is interesting because Buffalo's been playing some stout defense out there. They're one of the best teams in the NHL when it comes to home unders. I can't believe I'm saying that. They're 20-12 to the under when they're on their home ice. They're allowing just 2.7 goals a game on their home ice over the last 45 days out there. They got their best guy here in Jukka Luukkonen in the goal out there. Luukkonen, I pulled the old ghoster out there. And the goaltender's rocking. He's got himself that 2.42 goals against average that I mentioned out there. Getting up just 30 goals over his last 14 starts. They're playing phenomenal right now. Each of the Sabres' last 8 games against the Eastern Conference have gone under the total. Big opportunity for us to open our card up with the under 6.5. It's minus 115, but I expect this low-scoring streak to continue. And let's see if I'm feeling a little froggy here as we get towards the end of it, because damn, I'm thinking about taking the Sabres too. I really want to double dip this game. In fact, fuck it. I am taking the Sabres too. I'm going to make that an official play as well here. They're playing well at home. I think the biggest thing they've got going for them there is, the acquisitions they made at the deadline, big moves. As much as they cleared up some cap space and they moved some guys out and they brought in some draft picks. Bo Byram, big situation. If you didn't hear me talk about this before, he went on a Cancun vacation there during the All-Star break with Dylan Cousins, and they got back from the All-Star break, and Cousins was doing nothing but advocating that they make a move to bring on Bo Byram. What's he do that first game? He gets a goal and an assist, and that's good enough to have a little electricity going in what really are 2 teams that are a coin flip. One's heading in the right direction. The other one's struggling right now without their top goal scorer. So we're going to double dip. We got the Sabres minus 125. We got the under 6.5. Game number 2, let's keep it moving. Picking up this pace here, we've got Pittsburgh. We've got Ottawa going on. Yeah, Mel says Byram and Cousins are best buds. They were hanging out in Cancun, man. Man, they were looking like they were having a good time. Cocktails flying around. That's what hockey players do when they are not on the ice. So let's go into this next game. Pittsburgh's got Tristan Jarry going. Tristan Jarry's been struggling as of late. 18, 21-4 on his record. Korpisalo, bag of used pucks. Korpisalo's 13, 20-4. These guys, 2.71, 90.8% save percentage for Jarry. Korpisalo, 3.39, 88.7. Those are AHL goalie coming up to the majors type of numbers out there. He's about a half a goals against average away from being put down in the minors himself. If they had any other options, unfortunately for them, they do not right now. Jarry is going 4 games and 5 starts. Or I'm sorry, 4 starts in 5 games. I got to scratch that, reverse them. 4 games and 5 starts. He's been getting scored on. 3 or more goals in 4 straight. They're 1-3 over that stretch, including there's that pesky Edmonton team again. He let up 4 goals on 42 shots in that loss to Edmonton. It was a 4-0 loss to Edmonton. Pittsburgh got blanked. Pittsburgh's been getting outscored 15-1 over their last 3 games. Good enough to be 0-3. If you're only scoring 1 goal over 3 games, you're probably not winning those games, right? That kind of makes a lot of sense. But what have we done oh so well? We've taken 2 shit teams going head-to-head and picked the right side of them consistently. And here we look again, the Senators. 7-game losing streak. Of course, we talked about that last game for the Senators. 2-1. We were on that Sharks team. Speaking of 2 shit teams heading in different directions, Korpisalo takes that 2-1 loss. We counted ourselves a nice plus 195 bag out there. And there's a ton of I had to simplify them because there's just too many trends that speak for Pittsburgh and against Ottawa. Let's look at the most simplest one here. Overall in the NHL, the away favorite off a dog loss, 355 and 240 in those games out there. Big spot to advocate for Pittsburgh as the road favorite in this spot here. We've got a rematch situation. Ottawa won the last game. When you're in a rematch spot as a home dog and the opponent's coming off a loss, those teams that are the home dog are 35 and 97. It's the margin that you guys know I love to talk about here. It's 1.4 goals a game in that spot out there. Give me this Pittsburgh Penguins team. There's no other reason to get any deeper into the weeds on this one here. We've got Pittsburgh. We've got a minus 115. I get their scoring, deficiencies right now, but what a better time to get rolling than basically a guy touting AHL hockey numbers in Korpisalo. And we get this at a low spot because of how bad this team's been playing, which is really a gift because you think of how bad the Senators have been playing. I'm surprised the Penguins aren't sitting at a minus 150 here. I'm locking them down, minus 115. 3rd game on the hockey card. Mel says Pitt, Ottawa, stay away. I can't. I got to dive into these things when I get these numbers that make sense. I know the eyeball test says what it says, but these numbers speak way too highly for Pittsburgh, and it's minus 115. It's not like we got to lay a ton of juice here to get this team that has all the numbers pointing in their direction. And there's not just their direction, but numbers that say fade the other team. So I got to take advantage of it. Kelly V says Vegas in regulation looks good to me. I like that one too. I couldn't get there, but I like that spot a lot. Let's keep rolling here. Let's talk about this third game here. 8 p.m. Eastern. We've got ourselves a battle of bullshit. We've got the Anaheim Ducks and we've got the Chicago Blackhawks. Actually, I'm sorry. I flipped this order around. This is an 8:30 start, but that's okay. 8:30 start. We've got Gibson at 13-21-2 going in goal. We've got Mrazek on the other side, 13-25-4. You want to talk about terrible numbers. Gibson, 3.22 goals against average and an 89.6% save percentage. Mrazek, 3.11 goals against average, 90.5% save percentage. It's hard to believe these guys are both going in as starters, but they really don't have any choice in this spot. Gibson, though, is coming in on some rest. This is his first start, or he's had one start in his last 5 games, but he's been leaking like a faucet out there. He's let in 4 or more goals in 3 of his last 4 games. You know when those goalies are getting scored on, they're not winning. They're 1-2-1 in that stretch. 6 goals on 36 shots in his last start there. 6-2 loss to Dallas. On the other side of things, Chicago has won 2 of their last 3 games. Mrazek, though, on the other hand, he's let in 4 goals or more in 3 straight starts. He's got himself a 6-game losing streak. This team's winning. This guy's losing. But I think this is the get-right spot here. You know, we just talked about Pittsburgh scoring deficiencies. Anaheim's got some scoring deficiencies. Not only does Anaheim have the goaltending challenges, scoring deficiencies, they got a bunch of dudes that don't want to be there. There's guys that are chapped. If you read the beat reports here for the Anaheim Ducks, they're chapped. They're still a part of the organization. They made it clear they wanted to be out of there. Zegras was the leader of the pack saying, I don't want to play in this squad anymore. Hasn't signed his contract that's up for renewal. He's going to become a restricted free agent. And he wants nothing to do with this Anaheim Ducks team. That's where you find low scoring and bad goaltending. That's a bad stretch. Also, when you last played the Coyotes at home, now you're a home favorite. You're 21-8 in those spots out there. Road teams off a home loss where the opponent scored 5 or more goals are 9-23 in those spots. Can't believe I'm doing it. I'm taking the Chicago Blackhawks. Bad teams aren't bad forever. They got to win sometime. Tonight's as good a night as any, and it's a low, big spot on their home ice against a team that is disgruntled top to bottom in the Anaheim Ducks. I'm all over the Chicago Blackhawks, minus 110 tonight. Connor Bedard night out there. I don't think they're giving his bobbleheads away, but they might as well be because I think he has a big night to get this job done for the Chicago Blackhawks. You know he's feasting. He's salivating, thinking with the injury timeout that he missed, he's got an opportunity to get right and get a couple of points on the net tonight. Let's get it rolling out there. Mel says, Anaheim, Chicago, Meteor hits the arena. That could very well happen. That could happen. Let's go. There's absolutely no outcome in this game that would surprise me. I would be surprised if Anaheim won that game. That's the outcome that would surprise me. JPZ says, Penguins and Blackhawks on the same card. Big balls, Mike. You know, it's not like we're just putting a blindfold on and throwing a dart at the board. Sometimes it feels like that, but not tonight. I love both these spots. I love the vig on these spots as well. Let's roll on here. We're talking about the big one. I think the Rangers and the Carolina spot's a huge game tonight for the East Coast. Aside from those 2 teams that I said are going to battle for the Eastern Conference Finals, wouldn't be surprised to see these 2 teams battling in the finals here. Florida with Bobrovsky going 31-12-2. Dallas with Ottinger going back in goal at 25-11-4. What a goaltending battle royale we have here. Bobrovsky, 2.28 goals against average, 91.8% save percentage. Impressive. Not only is that impressive, but if you look at Bobrovsky's numbers, he's 3rd in the NHL in wins. He's 2nd in the NHL in goals against average, and he's 5th in the NHL in save percentage. The guy's playing phenomenal. It's going to be him and Hellebuck battling for the Vezina Trophy at the end of the year. Then we look at Ottinger, 295 goals against average, 90% save percentage out there as well. Bobrovsky did have a nice little 3-game win streak on. Took a big L to Philadelphia, 2-1 out there. You know he's going to try to get his winning ways back, but he's rolling into Dallas. Dallas scores the 2nd most goals in the NHL, and they're on a 5-game winning streak. That's not a spot you want to go head-to-head with there. Ottinger has allowed 2 or fewer goals in 4, but He's allowed 5 or more in 2 of those other games as well. So he's kind of hit or miss. He's a little inconsistent. I'm just going to roll with this one here. It's just a straightforward home favorite against a non-conference opponent, sitting there at 35-4 if the total's more than a 6. We know that we see a lot of goals getting scored out there. There's 6.5s across the pike in this Dallas team. Second period, Dallas, the over very much a live spot, especially if we see like a 0-0 first period. But Dallas minus 110. Going to be another play on the hockey card. Where are we at now? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 4th play on the NHL card. Let's wrap up the NHL and bring our guy Billy Briz in to talk about the hardwood tonight. Last game, last but certainly not least on the card, this Colorado Avalanche and Calgary Flames battle right now here. What a spot we've got. We've got Annunen 3-2-1 on the starting side for Colorado. We've got Darth Vader 8-2 on the other side for Calgary. I got to look at this one here. I'll give you the bottom and then we'll go back up to the top. I'm going to the over in this game. You got Annunen. He's 2.33 goals against average with a 92.9% save percentage. He's allowed only 2 goals in 3 games, and he's got back-to-back shutouts. That's not who this kid is. Now, great for him. Good on him to get the job done. On the other side of things with Calgary, with Vladar in goal here, this guy's an AHL goaltender. His stats scream AHL. He's been down there with the Calgary minor league affiliate there. Not a spot I want to be involved with here. I think this guy's definitely leaky like a faucet. 3.42 goals against average, 88.5% save percentage. Those are AHL numbers that I mentioned a couple games prior to it. So we've got an AHL goaltender out there against a goaltender that's already played well beyond his capability early in the season here, or early in the starting here. And we've got a pretty straightforward situation. Late in the season, teams off a road loss as a dog, now a home dog, when they're playing an opponent that just won, are 94-37 to the over in those spots. 94-37 to the over. Break that one down. They're losing. They're marked as a dog. The opponent just came off a big win. That momentum carries over. Calgary's in a bad spot from a goal perspective. The average we're seeing, this total has been pegged at a 6. We've got 6.5 on this board. The average number we're seeing in this thing is 7.5 goals, a 4 to a 3.5. Also, you know we love to look at these back-to-back spots here. NHL teams on their first leg of a back-to-back on the road when they're in a no-rest situation are 71-54 to the over. That speaks to the Colorado side getting goal production here. Calgary should get leaky. Colorado should keep it hot. We've got an over 6.5, and it's a minus 110 spot here in this game. Goals galore. If you like scoring, I think this is the game to watch tonight. Give me that Colorado over 6.5 to wrap up the NHL card. That's going to move us on down the line here. Tori Coker says, can you please get the line history and ticket count on 3 games, please? Tori Coker, tell me which games you're looking for, and I will do my best to drop them out there for you, my guy. Let's go. Maybe you said it earlier and I missed it. I'm scrolling from the bottom up. So Mel says, fantastic game here. Was very close to taking Florida money line. Ekblad injury scares her off out there. Real Deal Prime says, there is a scenario where the Buffalo Sabres down by only 3 points out of a playoff spot by the end of the week. It's possible, and it starts tonight. I agree, Real Deal Prime. I don't know about the playoffs, but I think it starts tonight for him for sure. Mel says, I'd be very careful with the Avs tonight. Whole new lineup and very little offensive chemistry, and now Leakinen is out sick, which means Val moves to the top line, putting Duchesne on the second line out there. It's a good point. That's a great set of insight out there, Mel. Excellent knowledge, bringing it to the table for us here. Let's keep our eyes on that one. But the over 6.5 is on the card. I expect to see goals. I don't think this is a 3-1 type of game. I think this is like a 5-3 type of game out there. But let's roll on. Let's go to the college hardwood. Let's bring our Tuesday resident in here. He's our expert at navigating the hardwood in college and the NBA, player prop sides, totals, and he's an MMA extraordinaire. You know him, you love him. Let's bring on Billy Briz. Billy B.
I'm excited, man.
We got ourselves a card. I'll tell you what. Afternoon action definitely distracts me from some of the things that we have to get to here. But it's so much fun this time of year having things popping off in the middle of the afternoon, isn't it?
Oh man, yeah. Today was pretty fucking wild. I had that Georgia Tech money line game. I told you about that one earlier. That one didn't get through the hoop, but shouts to Fran Duffy and the boys, man. Fran Duffy and the boys get it done. LaSalle, they don't cover, but they end up hitting the money line, and all we care about is win and losses around here. And favorite quote of the day from the LaSalle star stud I think his name is Brantley. Quote unquote from my man Khalil Brantley. He said, "You think I'm going home in my own city? You got me fucked up."
I saw you tweet that. Love to see it. It's such a fun time of year. You know these guys are playing for a lot of stakes right now, especially these mid majors where they got to get the dub or they're not going dancing, and they all want to put their shoes on. So let's roll in. We got ourselves a tight little college basketball card here. A lot of afternoon action. Both Billy and I had rolling, so we do have some evening action going on here. Nothing at 7. You know, there are a couple games that caught my attention. That Miami-Boston College game. A lot of people loving on this Miami team, and I don't know why. I get it. You know, maybe their roster's built for the playoffs, but I just couldn't get there. I thought, if anything, that's an under game. But high level, Billy, without dipping into the weeds in this one, what did you think of Boston Miami? Any high level thoughts there?
I would say I would bet the first half under in that game. That was the one that kind of stood out to me the most. But at 7:00, man, we got to put some respect. Warriors come out and play tonight. Mary Mac trying to punch in their fucking first ticket into the big dance. Team that has been, I would say, it's been a sad story. They've been at the top of the conference of the NEC for a while, but this is their first year being eligible for the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to punch their ticket in tonight. Warriors come out and play tonight. I like the Mary Mac Warriors tonight.
I do too. That was a big number. It's now moving, though. It is moving in that direction. So for anybody that is looking at that number, thinking about that opportunity, makes a lot of sense. Let's roll on. Let's talk about some games that we do have some action on, though, here. We're looking at I'll pop off first here. We've got the 8:30 time slot here. We've got Sac State, Montana State. We talked about this game last night with Montana State, not the Sac State side of things. And you know, if we look at these numbers, what do we have going for us here? We've got Sac State opens at +5. It's now down to 4.5 with 67% of the bets on Montana State. So we are blind as far as the cash. I don't know why they keep doing this in this tournament action here, but we are blind as far as the cash is concerned. And then we look at the total. It's gone from 135.5 down to 134.5. 57% of the bets, 67% of the cash. But the full story within there, Billy, is frankly, this number was dropped down to 133. So we're getting buyback now. We've got 134s at -110. We've got 134.5s now, and it's continuing to creep on up, which doesn't surprise me as we get later in the card. Look, I'll keep it short and sweet for this one, Billy. We'll keep it rolling here. Bottom line for me, I went to the over. You look at these two teams here. Sac State's last game aside against Eastern Washington. You know, they were 13.5-point dog at that game. They came out winning outright. They had to play defense to lock that team down and get this opportunity to move forward. It was a 74-69 game. Prior to that, though, 3 straight overs, all 131.5, 143.5, and 129.5. Now look at this Montana State team. You know, Montana State, and kind of what I've noticed with this Montana State team is they're letting it rip. They don't give a squat about defense now as it relates to this past game. Weber State, we talked about that game yesterday. First half kind of being a chess match. But the difference in that game specifically was they had just played the game before. So without rest, the first game of the Big Sky tournament for these two conference teams, you know, they wanted to kind of dabble around and have a low start. It's how they finished with a 91-82 score. That rival, that actually beat that score, 91-82, beat that Sixers-Knicks game the other day here. And I think it continues. You know, the big thing we've got going on is, I think it's the styles make the fights in this thing here, but Sacramento State, the challenge that they had was some injuries. Their key guy was kind of out of the lineup the entire time this season, but they brought him back. They've been picking up pace a little bit, as I mentioned, with their previous 3 overs before that Eastern Washington under. It's now 134. It's moved up from 133.5. It's moving in the direction I want, Billy. I took the over in this Montana State game.
Yeah, you got more courage than I do, man. I just can't. You couldn't pay me to bet on the Big Sky tournament. I mean, upsets galore, people blowing leads. It's like if you have a 10-point lead in this conference, it's like a death sentence. You're just destined to lose the game. I think this would be a good live bet opportunity here for Sacramento State. Even though they're a number 10 seed, I mean, they're balling right now. They're clicking in all cylinders. And the way they shot last night, shit, Montana State, they shot out the ass last night. I think that number's due to regress. But with that being said, I do think that the over is the best bet in this game. I usually like betting championship game unders, but there's a lot of trends that really say that the under's the way to go in these championship games, but not here in the Big Sky. The Big Sky is I'll just say the sports books have been dead wrong on the Big Sky in the last like 3 days.
Yeah, I'm with you with regards to these numbers too. And the thing about, I think specifically with Montana State, you mentioned it, just they're scoring, they're hitting their shots, they're feeling good, they're rolling forward. And normally conference games, I do want to get involved with those unders. That's kind of why I was thinking that Miami game felt like an under spot for me. But ultimately for me, I'm opening up the card here with Montana State over now 134. So we're seeing buyback on that spot. If we move on down the line here for 9 o'clock, Billy, we've got your first play here for the college hoops games. We've got Florida International going up against Jackson State there. We got a line that opened at -4. It's moved to 4.5s and 5s. We have 71% of the bets. But again, these mid-majors, they're making us fly in the blind on the cash. 71% of the bets, no idea about the cash, but it has moved almost a full point in the Jackson State direction. The total is interesting as well. 50% of the bets, 71% of the cash sitting there on the under. And as far as the line movement's concerned, we've got it kind of popping up. It's gone up to 141.5s, 142s, and 142.5s. Tell us how you're getting paid in this game, Billy. What's the strategy for this FIU Jackson State game?
We got the Conference USA tournament tipping off in Von Braun Center in Huntsville, Alabama. And this is the first game of the tournament. And I like Jacksonville State here in this spot. In their first games versus FIU, they had a sizable advantage on the rebounds. Jacksonville State is 29th in the country in offensive rebounding at 10.9 offensive rebounds per game. And that's going to be a key statistic here in this game. They out-rebounded FIU in the first meeting 37-20, and then the second game they out-rebounded them 37-27. So FIU, they can score, but they don't play defense. They've given up 80 points per game in their last 4 compared to Jacksonville State, who are only allowing 72.4 points per game in their last 5. And there's a sizable gap in adjusted efficiency. Jacksonville State, 184th in the country, and then FIU is 282nd in the country here. We're going to need some help, though, from the guards of Jacksonville State, more particularly Kai Dandy. Kai Dandy, he's been having big games. He's averaging 18.3 points per game this season. In the first 2 meetings versus FIU, he had 35 points and 20 points. And the X factor here for Jacksonville State, they're going to need some production from their 6'10 junior, Mason Nicholson. In the first meeting against FIU, he had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks. And then the second meeting, he was non-existent. He only played 10 minutes and contributed 4 points, 1 rebound, hence why the game was so close. Jacksonville State only won by 2, 77-75. But he has the ability to protect the rim here. He's at the top of the conference in blocks per game. I think he's going to get some minutes here in this one. And I think Kai Dandy is going to go off in this one, and we're going to cover the spread.
I like it. So you're going with the favorites there, looking to lock it down and knock them out. And I think that's a sharp look out there. Hey, I do realize Tori Coker asked me, I asked him what games, he mentioned it. I even said it aloud, and then I realized I blew over it. So that Miami, Florida, Boston College game, though, we opened up at +1.5. It's now -2.5 in the Miami direction. We have 41% of the bets and 48% of the cash. I don't know how true that is, though, because every son of a bitch I've heard from has said Miami today. I don't think I've heard one person say Boston College. The total is
Boston College is a better basketball team than Miami. Is Miami more talented? Yeah, but I mean, we saw in the ACC tournament game earlier today, Georgia Tech's 10 times more talented than Notre Dame. And what happens? Notre Dame ends up winning the game. Why? Because they're more well coached and more poised for the moment. And can you trust the Canes' talent level? Maybe so. But at this number, man, give me quitting posting the boys at Boston College to get it done over Miami.
Yeah, I was leaning to the under here. This number for the total opens at 149.5, down to 147.5. We got 39% of the bets, but 74% of the cash. You guys have heard me talk about it before. If you're new here, bets and money are the 2 numbers that we're looking at there. And we're not looking at where the cash is. We're looking to see how Vegas or the bookmakers are responding to the cash, right? There's a big misconception with this cash flow analytics. We see that we've got 39% of the bets. The bets constitute the soup. It's your $5 tickets, it's your parlays, it's your teasers, it's your, straight plays with small dollars. It's all the soup, if you will, that goes into it. It's the celery, the carrots, the onions. It's all the stuff that goes into it. It's the money that we look at, the bigger bettors potentially coming in with the backpack full of cash, going up to the window saying, yeah, I'm going to take 10 grand on this Miami over. And they say, well, hang on, let's go get the manager. Manager comes over, he looks at the player. He says, all right, yeah, I'll take your over. They move it from 149 down to 147.5. And they say, hey, guy, you liked it at 149.5. How do you feel at 147.5? And those are kind of the situations that we're looking for. That's what happened in this game for Miami. That's kind of
got ruled in for the Miami game. I think that's the reason why the line's going up a little bit. Nigel Pack's Miami's leading scorer of the season, probably one of the only NBA prospects on the team.
Let's roll on, though. No officials for Billy and I in that 7 o'clock window. Just kind of giving you guys some of our insight as far as where we see these games and how they're going to play out. It's going to be a lot of fun watching those games and seeing the totals. It's kind of, I got to see what Miami does against Boston College before I decide how I'm going to roll with them again, moving down the tournament line, because they have just rolled over in big spots. Kelly V says it too. Feels like you, Mike, BC seems like Miami, Florida quit. Yeah, I leaned at BC, but I like the under more. I think there's going to be a lower scoring game. Anyhow, 9 p.m. here. We've got the last game for us on the college basketball slate before we roll on in. Let's keep going. Let's talk about this game here. Nicholls State, Texas A&M SC. What a showdown we have here. This line opened at -4. 40% of the bets, but 87% of the cash. This is where you would expect the numbers to move, from 4 to 4.5, with 87% of the cash. The public wants the points, but the bigger money saying, lay the wood, give me them boys, and they moved it from 4 to 4.5. The total has dropped. We went from 140s down to 137.5s, 56% of the bets on the over, but only 48% of the cash on the over. You look at the money line, 95% of the cash is on Texas A&M CC. You guys have heard me say it time and again. I love to correlate the favorites and the unders. That seems to me to be a lot of sense. And if you look at these two teams here, as of late, this conference, Billy and I talked about this already with this conference championships and tournament plays here. You love to see a tighter game. You love to see defense. And what's happened here, Texas A&M plays New Orleans to an under 156.5. They drop it down 10 more points against Incarnate Word, under 146. It goes under that total. Then you go over to the Nicholls State side of things, Northwestern State, under 142.5. They drop it down in Southeast Louisiana to 140. It goes under that total. And they drop it down again to Texas A&M, under 135 in that game out there. We've got the correlated line movement with the under. I do expect the favorite to come through and get this win here. To me, this is a great opportunity for us to take advantage here. If you look at the last 10 games between these two teams head-to-head, they're getting 148 points. Yet the bookmakers set this thing super low with I guess it was like 140 before it's dropped now to 137.5. But if you look at how these two teams have played this season, despite their average at 148, defense has reigned through for these two teams this year. 67-63 the first game, 69-59 the second game. Both those scores will go comfortably under the total for us. They are running hot with unders right now as well. I'm going to correlate with this line movement. I'm going to jump in and take this Nicholls State. Let me just make sure this is the best number that's out there. 137.5 is -105. Even better.
I'm seeing 138.5 at BetMGM at -115 juice.
Oh, fuck yeah. I see that too. Good call. Good call. Let's take advantage. You know what?
This game is so interesting because the Southland tournament is played in the Legacy Center in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I don't know if you've ever been to Lake Charles, Louisiana. There ain't shit to do in Lake Charles besides go to the sports book and bet on games. And man, if you've been noticing some of these Southland games, some of these results have been really just fade the public type of results. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Nicholls State cover the line, but Texas A&M Corpus Christi ends up winning the game. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they're going to be the more popular, the more known team, the more public team because they've been in the NCAA tournament a couple of times in the last couple of years. But I do think that Nicholls State is playing basketball. They're playing the right brand of basketball at the right time. 72-51 Texas against Texas A&M Commerce, a team that you should beat like that. Sela, they won 80-54. I mean, they've been smacking teams in the last month. The only team that's really beat them was McNeese State, who's going to be basically the home court advantage of this conference. tournament because they're from Lake Charles, so they have a little bit of an advantage. But I feel like Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they kind of benefited from an easier part of scheduling in the back end of the season. They played 3 home games to end out the regular season, and then their last 2 games that were on the road was against Houston Baptist Christian, who didn't even make the Southland tournament, and then the Lamar team, who just don't play as good on the road as they do at home. So they've been having some good scheduling advantage spots for them. So I think that 4.5 line's a little bit sketchy, man. I think Nicholls State's a live dog tonight.
It'll be interesting to see how these games kind of work their way out there. Definitely going to want to watch these games as you start looking for bracket opportunities. We're only a couple of days away from bracket time, and you're going to want to start to get a head start with some of these mid-major programs. I see some
what
of the
are your thoughts, though, on Gonzaga versus St. Mary's, the most coveted game of the day. That's going to be on ESPN, 9:00 Eastern.
That's going to be a great game to watch. So I've got it queued up here. I see our guy Cody Norton's asking about it. Anytime our green members like to ask questions, we'd like to give them the answer. And we've got -1.5 is where this line opened for the Zags. I'll tell you what, shame on me. I was up late last night too. I was up fucking around until like 2:33. And I told you, I'll respond to messages until about 3 a.m. and then I got to go to bed. But it turned out with this game, I don't know how I missed this fucking number because -1.5 seemed like the gift of all gifts and then a gift. You could have even gotten the money line at -125. We have 75% of the bets and 98% of the cash on the Zags. It went from -1.5 to -3.5. That's what you would expect to happen. I don't like to fuck around anytime there's 98% of the cash on anything. I'll lose or stay off it versus take it. But that being said, man, I took it twice on the chin against this. I took San Francisco twice against the Zags, and I lost on both of them. And I think the Zags are kind of scumbags this year overall, but they found a way to step their games up here. St. Mary's, though, if anybody has the time to beat them, it's right now. You look at the total, it's dropped from 140 to 138.5, 51% of the bets, 98% of the cash on the under. Again, there's just a ton of action. Everybody thinks they've got it figured out. They think the Zags are going to roll them, and it's going to be a low-scoring game. I will share this with you guys. St. Mary's 0-7 against the spread since the middle of November in a non-true road game when they're not a double-digit favorite. So a neutral court situation where they're not a double-digit favorite. They are 0-7. They're losing those games by about 9 points on average. The total we're seeing clocks in at about 130 points. So no official play for me on this barnstorming shit show, but I would lean to St. Mary's before I took the Zags, but I don't know how much punishment I want.
My greasy theory is this. If you bet a future in this tournament, it had to be either Gonzaga or St. Mary's. From a book standpoint, I feel like if Gonzaga wins the tournament, I mean, they're fucking -120, -115. That's no skin off of their back. Like, maybe some people parlayed it, but I feel like a lot more people would be hedging with the St. Mary's side because it's plus money. So right off of that alone, the money line of St. Mary's is higher than what the tournament pre-tournament future odds were. So I don't know, man. I feel like the books would they wouldn't be too mad with a Zags win. You got to remember, this tournament's played right in the heart of Las Vegas. You can probably fucking spit outside the arena to the closest kiosk. I kind of like the under in this one. Championship game unders. This total opened up at 140.5. It's gone down to 138.5, but hard lean towards the under in this championship game. People see these two teams over.
I'll tell you what, that's a super sharp look there, talking about what the pre-conference line was for them to win versus what the line is right now. That's an interesting. I don't look at that very often. So that was a very sharp.
You got to tell those Arkansas State bettors from last night that all were sitting around at the kiosk waiting to cash their future bets in, and then JMU just put the fucking hammer on them. They're like -115 to win the tournament. So there's no skin off the bookies back in that one.
So the first NBA game doesn't start till 7:30. Let me ask you this question here, just kind of shot out of a cannon. If San Francisco wins, do the Zags make the tournament? And then vice versa, if the Zags win to San Francisco, do they both get in the tournament regardless of what happens in this game?
Nah, this is a 2-bid league. Both of these teams are really just playing for seeding right now. St. Mary's, you don't want to be that number fucking 10 seed playing a team like San Diego State or something like that in the first round. That's just a death sentence written all over it. And the Zags, they're kind of moving their way on up. If they can win this tournament, I mean, they've been on a roll in the last month of the season since they got that Kentucky win in Lexington. I think the Zags can move on up to like a 4 seed here.
I like it. So there's a lot to play for on both sides of the equation. You don't want to be the shitbag falling into the playoffs, and you want to be an opportunity to advance yourself. So that's going to be a fun game to watch all around. I'll probably get some degenerate action in there. So I got a big NBA card to jump into, but let's see what we got here. I see our guy Troy Torrance up in the house there. It's great to see Troy and his market efficiency database out there. Nunya likes Merrimack, Jacksonville, the Zags, and Nemhard 11+ points. Julian Brown for Wagner, 2+ assists, plus 600. What a hell of a guy Nunya is. He even puts the college players team in parentheses so you don't have to go scrubbing around trying to figure out who it is. Shout out to our guy Nunya getting it done. And Troy Torrance says, Brizzy, I've realized futures are never really a risk for the books. That's an interesting take out there for, you know what? I would think that if anything from that perspective, I don't know how to respond to that. I would think that I'm not a big
Depends on the
player.
conference though. Like if you're in the WCC and there's 2 teams at the top and then everybody else is like 17-1 odds or more, I mean, like it's hard not to notice it.
I think it doesn't. What it does is it keeps people off of betting games because they're like, I've got a futures ticket. And you can say what you will. Everybody I hear say that inevitably when it comes time to make a bet on the game says, well, I have a future ticket. That shit factors in regardless of how much you want to believe it doesn't. Tell me somebody that doesn't, and I'll tell you someone that's full of shit. So that being said, that's why I try not to get involved with futures. That's why it's tough for brackets because, you know, you're ultimately, but brackets are kind of set them and forget them. It's not like a dynamic bracket. You kind of set it and then fuck it, whatever happens, happens. But
I had to stop fucking with brackets though, because I don't want to be thinking, oh, well, I got this team on my bracket. What should I do?
Yeah.
Sports bet-wise? Like I just eliminate it.
There's some big dollar brackets, some big dollar Calcuttas coming up as well. Those should be fun if you guys haven't done those before. They're great time. We got to roll one together. I talked about this before where they did a when I lived in Philadelphia, they had a computer setup system where everybody got 2 teams. You got a good team and a shit team, and it was against the spread. And you could take, if your team was a shit team playing say you were playing an Alabama at -14, but Alabama only wins by 12 and your shit team lost, you then took Alabama and advanced across. So I don't remember what they called it, but it was so fun because it was interactive with the spread, and you could end up with your team's being knocked out and still winning the thing with somebody else's team. So I'll have to look and see if there's a feasibility of putting that into play. But no, Marcus McCarthy, I'm not betting at 3 a.m. I'm just up till 3 a.m. looking at the lines, debriefing, updating numbers. There's a whole bunch of shit. There's things that money never sleeps. And neither do
I ain't gonna lie, Mike. I didn't after the Zags started going on that run, I said, let me take my ass to sleep so I can wake up early. Woke up at 5 a.m. and started betting a shitload of games for the afternoon.
That's on that note, let's roll on and talk about our degenerate behavior in the NBA. Some call it the Never Bet Again Association or no betting allowed, but I'm jumping into this one tonight, Billy. The water is warm, and I'm not even going to put my toe in. I'm jumping right in. Cannonball, baby. Cannonball style for this thing here. I know we kind of got some intermittent spot. I told you I had a tough time cutting the card. This first game with the Sixers and the Knicks, I was so close to the over, and I was so close to the Sixers. I just couldn't get there ultimately. This number opened up. We've got +3.5 has moved to 6s now. 77% of the bets and 95% of the cash. We're starting to see buyback now, this Knicks spot. If anything, oh, fuck. I'm going to add the Sixers +6. It's a 7:30 start. I'm doing this live on the fly with you guys, so I'll let Billy kind of share the floor here with the numbers. But the total opens at 215. It's moved to 208.5. 60% of the bets, 90% of the cash on the under in this game. The couple things that jumped out at me, Billy. The Sixers 11-0-1 against the spread when they allowed less than 38.3% shooting the previous game and didn't win by a blowout. So they're in a big 11-0 spot. The Knicks, they don't cover the spread in home games here. The Knicks have failed to cover the spread in 10 of their last 11 home games. It just seems like it's a great opportunity to take advantage of these two teams. I'll tell you, the total jumped out. You look at this total, NBA wide. I can't believe this has happened enough that there's a trend behind it. But since 2013, when it's an immediate rematch, these two teams just played. Where the scored less than 178 total points, 22-8 to the over in that next spot up. But I'm adding the Sixers. I'm adding them plus. The thing that I was looking for
Well,
is what's that?
I gotta go against you here. This is a pretty clear cut Knicks spot. These two teams just played on Sunday. It was the lowest first half scoring in an NBA game since March 2019. And I think the Knicks are going to bounce back here. They're trying to hold on to the 4 seed here. The Sixers have only won back-to-back games twice since Joel Embiid's injury in late January. And before that game, the Knicks beat the Sixers 4 out of their last 5 head-to-head. I think they're going to win and cover this one tonight. This is a Knicks spot written all over it. Maxey just came back. This is the star player theory. When the star player comes back and they're shooting all the shots and shit like that, and he's coming off out of the injuries that you have, I mean, granted, concussion is one where you won't be on a minutes limit, but I mean, fucking Maxey just shoots the ball too much for my liking. Not saying he doesn't need to not shoot the ball, but him coming back, Knicks just getting beat. They only shot like 30% throughout the whole entire game. Now they're playing the same exact team back to back. It was one of those spots in the game on Sunday. It was like, how many times are you going to beat this team head to head where we're just going to not really give a fuck? But now OG Anunoby's back. The Knicks are looking a lot more healthier. They're a little bit deeper, and they're going to have some depth advantage over the Sixers here. And they just played on Sunday. I like the Knicks here to win in emphatic fashion. I think they win by double digits.
13-point swing seems too much to me. And the thing I was looking for was that last-minute buyback because it was sitting at 6.5 a little bit before the show started here. So we've got buyback from the ceiling and 96%. I get it. And the Knicks with Anunoby and are phenomenal. We know that that's where they need to be. But how can you on one side say you fade a team when the star player comes back and Maxey comes in? But on the other side of things, you're saying, well, Anunoby's coming back in and now they're playing on.
Anunoby's a defensive player guy. Maxey's going to shoot the ball just as much as Jalen Brunson. OG Anunoby's there to fucking just put his arms out and play defense. Dante DiVincenzo is going to be shooting those shots. It's just a hard spot for the Sixers to win, man. Were we going to win one of those 2 games back to back? Yeah, and we ended up winning the one on Sunday, but you're telling me the Sixers are going to win back-to-back games against the New York Knicks? I mean, in New York especially, I just don't see it, man. We get an easier part of the schedule at the middle part of this month, so I'm going with the Knicks here in this one.
All right, let's go.
This line opened up at 3.5, going all the way up to 7.5, came back down to 6.5, then it settled in at 6, 5.5 in some places. Yeah, this is a Knicks spot written all over it.
Are you official with the Knicks?
Yeah, official with the Knicks. Knickerbockers.
Head-to-head, Mike M. and Billy Briz tonight. That'll be a fun game to keep our eyes on here. Let's roll on. Let's go to this next game. We've got the Indiana Pacers and the OKC Thunder. Billy, this game opens up at 6. Almost an identical situation here. 6.5 down to 5.5, 44% of the bets. 79% of the cash on this OKC team here. Bigger bets coming in on the Thunder, but a lot of cash coming in on the Pacers there. The totals moved up 5 points from 235.5 to 240.5. 72% of the bets, 75% of the cash on the over. And it's moved 5 points, Billy. Take it away. Talk to us about this game.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game here. If you guys haven't seen, the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be without Jalen Williams for this game, and I think that's going to be a huge, a huge factor for them on the defensive side of the ball. They're just running out of front court depth. They have Chet Holmgren, and that's really just about it. I mean, like, their front court depth is a huge problem in this one, and do I like the Oklahoma City Thunder? And I think that they're good at home. Yes, they're one of the best straight-up teams at home in the NBA this season. But this is just too many points, man. The Oklahoma City Thunder laying 6 points in NBA games? I mean, like, damn, times have changed, man. I remember they used to be a coveted home underdog. It'd be like +1.5, +2.5 lines. But I understand deservedly so. The Pacers have been kind of somewhat treadling in form. Kind of got lucky with that game on Sunday against the Orlando Magic. That was a game that they were down by, I think, 15 points at one point in the first half. They ended up coming back and winning. It was just a really good spot for him. One of those spots where the Magic were about to sweep them for the season. Indianapolis ended up winning that first game against OKC 98 87. So this seems like an OKC bounce back spot on paper, but when I look at the roster construction of this team, it's just not a team I'm laying 6 points with.
Which would you prefer to hear? The current situation with the bounce back numbers, or all the trends that I'm taking?
No, I know the bounce back. The numbers will definitely tell you that OKC is in a great bounce back, but bro, they don't have a front. Jalen Williams being out of the lineup is huge for me. I mean, you're replacing him with Carson Wallace, Josh Giddey. It's just they don't have the. I just don't think that they have the size to. As we always talk, with a 6-point line, you want your team to basically be up by double digits by majority of the game. I just don't see how OKC is up by double digits majority of this game. I think this is a 1 possession, 2 possession type of game.
I would have scratched this going from 6 to 5.5 if I didn't see the Jalen Williams situation. I believe that's why the half point dropped in there. And is he worth a half point? He's probably worth more than that, but it just kind of goes to show that these guys should probably be, at least in my opinion, they should be that 9 or 10 point favorite. To your point around how they should cover this thing here, you look at their current form. They're 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 games. No question, they're certainly not in their best situation rolling here. But when they've lost the last head-to-head meeting, they're killers in the NBA here under their coach here. 93, 68, and 7 straight against the spread. This season, though, OKC Thunder, 16, 5, and 1 in the bounce back spot. I got it. Jalen Williams. I hear him. I got it. But Pacers are 0, 9, and 2 against the spread. Off a win by more than 2 points if they gave up less than 100 out there. OKC 13-0 versus a team that went under after a home game. Good spots here. I like it. I'm jumping in for OKC. I hear what you're saying about Jalen Williams. I'm going to be pissed off if I take this L after you said that to me. But
it's just the front court depth. It's just like a starting lineup of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Carson Wallace, Chet Holmgren. There's not a person in that lineup besides Chet Holmgren that's above 6'5". Like that's a huge problem, man. This ain't fucking college basketball. This is the NBA. I mean, they're out here starting fucking Aaron Naismith and Pascal Siakam and Turner. I mean, they're just going to clean up on the glass here in this spot. And if OKC doesn't shoot the ball well, this is a 1 possession type basketball game at the end here. They're going to get out rebounded pretty sizably in this game.
Well, this might be Billy's last show if I go 0-2 to start things off. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Billy.
No, I'm rooting for you. I don't have any bets in the game. I'm rooting for you. So
I see Troy Torrance's comments though. That's a great comment here. Pacers are 6-1 against the spread against teams who are top 10 in defensive efficiency. That's a crazy number in itself out there. And he says the Pacers and the over. He thinks the Pacers are 50-50 on the money line tonight as well. Well, how about this? Fuck both you guys. Let's roll on to this next game out there.
Bro. How can you be I'm from like a legit basketball standpoint? If you don't have anybody in an NBA starting lineup besides one person that's above 6'5", how are you laying 6 points with it?
Well, I guess I'm turning the plane into the storm. I'm just kidding, though. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how these games go here. We've got 8 o'clock. We've got against offensive efficiency. Okay. Which actually supports Billy's strength there. The Billy's conversation, then it's even more of a check on Billy's direction there as far as saying that with the offensive efficiency, how the Pacers roll out. How about this Wizards-Grizzlies game, Billy? Anything from you in this game? We've got the Wiz and the Grizz. +3s where it opens. 36% of the bets, 63% of the cash on the Wizards. It's gone from +3 to -2. The total went from 218.5 up to 220, but we have 31% of the bets and 91% of the cash on the under. Yet it's moved on up. What do you think about that?
I call this a bookie fake out type of game. Type of game where they don't want to disclose the injury news report because they don't want the one money to come pouring in on one side rather than the other. But give me the Memphis hustle here with Jordan fucking Laravia out here and GG Jackson just lighting up the fucking scoreboard. I mean, I got GG Jackson in my DFS lineup tonight, and GG's been on one of recent, man. 30 points in this last outing. They said, Triple J, go take your ass to the bench this game here. I think GG Jackson coming off the bench gives them a nice little it gives them options for a team that has no options. So meaning like GG Jackson is probably going to come off the bench. Trey Jameson's probably going to be in the starting lineup. So that means you're already getting probably your leading point scorer off the bench in this one. And the way Jordan LaRavia has been playing, he was the Memphis G League star player of their team for the last couple of years. They finally called him up to the big show, and he's been producing, man. He had a double-double in a couple games ago. He's been shooting the ball well. Luke Kennard running the point guard. John Conchar is healthy, active for this one. And right now for the Wizards, they're another team that's just having front court depth problems. They don't have a starting center. Marvin Bagley's out. Rashawn Holmes is out. And now you got Kyle Kuzma running out there at the 5 with fucking Denny Avila and Bilal Coulibaly. I think Memphis is going to have a sizable advantage in the front court positions. And I think Jordan LaRavia, GG Jackson, and Santi Aldama go for one tonight. I actually think the Memphis Grizzlies I would probably lean towards the Grizzlies winning this game, but if you gave me a free bet on this one, I think the under is the best bet in this game. I don't see this game cracking 219.
Yeah, I'm looking at this under as well. Nothing official for me yet. I was close to this one. I just had to take the highlighter off of something, and this was the one that got the highlighter off it for the under. You look at these numbers. To your point, this number how could you take Washington when they're laying points against anybody in this case here? They're take money when they're on the plus side of things, not give it away on the minus here. The Grizzlies are 24-4-2 to the under if they're off a spread loss and their opponent's off a win as a dog. So there's definitely a big under spot there. And these two teams have played the under. 7 of the last 8 games have gone under the point total for these two teams as well. But kind of the challenge for me, I got to have all the boxes checked. We got 91% of the cash banging on this under, and yet the line's moved up 2 points from the original opening. So no official for me, Billy. I'm rolling on up here. I'm rolling up to 8:30. What do you think about that? Let's go. Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs. Shout out to Southtown 101 here. We got 57% of the bets, but only 17% of the cash on the Rockets. The line has dropped. It's moved from -1 to -3s and now -4s. We've got tons of cash pouring in on this under. 72% of the bets. We're flying in the blind on the percentage of the money, but 224.5 on the total has dropped down to 222.5, Billy. Any thoughts from you in this Houston Rockets San Antonio Spurs situation here? Floor is yours.
This is probably one of the hardest games to cap on the board tonight, because when you think about it, it's like, fuck, man. Jack Landale, Jeff Green, that's who you guys are putting in the front court against Wembanyama. Wembanyama's not on a minutes limit tonight. Is Wemby's just going to front court? Is he just going to feast on this front court? Houston, San Antonio, it doesn't feel like it, but it is to the people around in the area. It is an interstate rival game. It's a game that the Spurs probably wouldn't mind winning here. I think the Spurs have been playing better basketball. I actually think the Spurs is the side here in this one. Second end of a back-to-back, but it's a home and home back-to-back. The Warriors just shot out the ass last night. I mean, they look like it was one of those Warriors come out and play tonight, down by 8 at halftime, come back in the second half, and they shot 44% from the three-point line. The Houston Rockets are dead last in the NBA on the road in three-point shooting, and that's the reason why they've been dropping these road games. You can't be going into these gymnasiums and trying to muck out games. You're just going to get lit up on the scoreboard, and I actually think this game goes under. I think San Antonio wins.
Well, check us down for the head-to-head again spot here, because I do like the under. I do agree with you on that total. A couple things that I was looking at. You do kind of negate the fact. I like that you're talking about this. It's the second half of the back-to-back, but it is at home. Now, the Spurs, though, in that situation, when they're on no rest after a game with a total less than 231.5, they're 0-8 in those spots. So 0-8 spot there for them. They've lost each of their last 9 games against the Southwest Division as well. So I'm big on saying some of these teams don't match up well against other divisions and spots of this situation. I jumped in with this Rockets. I thought it was a low enough number. I could validate the low number, and seeing the number moving in this direction, continuing to see 3.5s and now 4s to me, kind of gives me that instilled confidence with Houston. So I'm on Houston.
This is a system play here. My system would tell me I should be betting on the Spurs. This is a potential season sweep spot here. Houston beat San Antonio in December, and they beat them a couple weeks ago. And it's very hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. You're telling me Jack Landell and Jeff Green are stopping Wembyama? Like, I don't know, man. This is one of those ones where you might be having your hands folded here. Maybe the books are taking some Houston Rockets money, but is it enough for them to really care? I mean, it's a trap line, it feels like.
They're taking a shitload of Spurs money. 83% of the cash, 12,000 tickets, and it's moved from +1 to +4. That's kind of what I was looking at it, thinking, holy shit, there's a lot. Now, the money line, they're catching a lot of Rockets money line numbers out there, which doesn't surprise me in a 3. You see a lot of guys will circumvent the 3, guys and girls will circumvent the 3 and just go to the money line. That kind of makes sense to me as well.
It's a little -160 money line. If you're betting at a casino or something like that, more times than not, people are walking up to the window and just laying it on the money line. Fuck the spread.
Just hit a big roulette number and they're like, fuck it, I'll just take this money line and I'm going to go get some dinner. I'll see how I do when I come back, right?
Exactly that. Especially for an 8:30 game like this. I'll come back, see where we're at halftime.
Yep. So let's go on. Let's go 9 o'clock here. We've got ourselves a couple of games left in the NBA. We've got the Celtics and the Jazz going on here, 9 p.m. Eastern. The Celtics on the road. This line's moved from 6.5s. There's 6s, but there's still 6.5s. Kind of a coin flip. We have 66% of the bets, but only 39% of the cash on the Celtics. The totals drop from 235.5s down to 230s. We have 67% of the bets on the over, but 66% of the bets on the under. The pros and the Joes are split here, Billy. I don't know. And I'm looking to the Utah Jazz in this game here. I got the Jazz 21-1 against the spread. When they're in the home dog roll between a +1 and a +8 if their opponent's off an outright win or a loss by 5 points or less. So kind of that opponent coming out there playing a competitive game kind of stretches those legs out in a spot where we do have altitude. Then we've got home dogs when they've got multiple days rest are 23-3 when they're playing against a team with no rest. So kind of double dipping the rest spot here, taking the elevation into account. I'm going to take the 6.5 in my back pocket.
I'm looking at this game from a prop angle perspective. Woo, child. The bookies are fucking scared. They don't know what the Celtics starting lineup is going to be. There's only going to be probably like a 10 to 15 minute window prior to the game starting of you being able to get on a Celtics player prop. But if you saw that guy last night playing in his hometown there of Portland, Peyton Pritchard was going off last night, and it was one of those games where they benched the backcourt guys so they can bench the front court guys tonight. And I think we're going to take advantage of this front court spot. They haven't posted the prop yet, but this is one of those it's Durrell moments. I don't give a fucking shit what the number is, what the fucking line is. Give me Luke Cornett overs. That boy is about to go off against the Utah Jazz tonight. He's going to be instilled in there in that starting center spot tonight. No Kristaps Porzingis, no Al Horford. I just see Nasty Nate in the chat talking about Tatum double-double. I could definitely see that. But this is a prop game. Sam Hauser was red hot last night. He ended up coming off the bench but closing in that game. I think he had like 4 or 5 threes throughout the game. If we can get some player props up for the starters for the Celtics that aren't named Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, and Derek White. I mean, bro, there's 5 people in the fucking court. Only 8 people active on the team. You're only going to give us 3 player props? That means that they're scared. They don't know where to set the number at. They got banged on Celtics player props last night after they named the start announcement of the lineups. Everybody in the starting 5, including the 2 bench players, went over on their props. I think it's just like that all over again. If you're looking on the Utah Jazz side, Bryce Senza, bro, he's been kind of taking up. He's been kind of getting more usage with Lauri Markkanen being out of the lineup. His point prop set at 9.5 tonight. He was one of the popular plays earlier in the day before all these injury news came out on the daily fantasy slate. But yeah, player prop game for me.
Like it. Player props for our guy, Billy Briz out there. We're rolling onto a game that I know he's got some action on as well. Let's talk 10 p.m. We got 2 games left in the NBA. We'll get everybody up out of here. Bucks and Kings. We've got this line opened up at +1. And depending on the books, it's kind of sitting there. +1s. There's +1.5 for the Kings as well. 54% of the bets and 62% of the cash on the Bucks. The total's moving on up. 234.5. Moved up to 236.5 with 88% of the bets and 98% of the cash on this over. Billy, I'll tell you what, I was surprised to see the last 22 times these 2 teams have played, it's gone over. 21-0-1 to the over. Only the highest other streak between head-to-head teams is 13. Is the bubble due to burst? Tell us about this game. Tell us what you think's happening here.
I ain't gonna lie, I would not be betting no under in this game. The only bet would be over if you're looking at the total. But this is another conundrum. This is like this game reminds me a lot of the Bucks Lakers game. I think that the plus money side from a money line perspective is the way to go here. The Bucks is a slight dog here in this spot. But man, oh man, you only get a couple of chances a year to get these type of player prop opportunities, and I'm not missing out on this one tonight. The Bucks are on a West Coast swing here, and we've been attacking them, either betting with them or against them player prop wise. And dude, they just got lit up by point guards in their last couple of games here. So we got to go De'Aaron Fox over 33.5 points and assists at minus 125. This is a great spot for Fox. This point prop is straight up 28.5 minus 140, the most bet on player prop of the day. And then they had to move the line up to 28.5, 29.5 in some places that I'm looking at, and deservedly so. And this is just a great spot for Fox. He's been over his point prop 6 out of his last 9 games. The Bucks allow the third most points per game to the point guard position this season, and their bottom 3 pick and roll defense in the NBA. If you ever watched the fucking Kings game, the whole entire offense is De'Aaron Fox running a pick and roll with Domantas Sabonis. So off of that alone, it makes me a little bit worried about backing the Bucks here. But if you look at the recent point guards versus Milwaukee, they have been getting flamed. D'Angelo Russell, 44 points. James Harden, 29 points. Derek White, 22 points. Tyrese Maxey, 24 points. Anthony Edwards, 28 points. Devin Booker, 32 points. Luka Doncic, 40 points. This is over the last 2.5 weeks. They've been getting fried by point guards. De'Aaron Fox has been averaging 16 plus field goal attempts per game, getting to the free throw line 5 times per game, or I should say 5 extra points on his point prop total from the free throw line. And he's been averaging 30.5 points per game since the All-Star break. So fire me up some De'Aaron Fox here in this game.
I like that look a lot. I ended up with the Kings here. I've got the reverse line movement factor now. We've got 54% of the bets and 62% of the cash on the Bucks. Yet I can't get that 1.5 anymore. It's minus 112 on the money line for the Kings, and that's where my money is going tonight. The Kings are 13-0 against the spread when they're with rest, and they're not a 9-point or greater dog when they're coming off a loss when they were a favorite. So getting upset there in that spot, if you will, when they're not a huge dog and have rest in their corner is 13-0 in that spot for me. So reverse line movement coupled with the minus with the 13-0 trend for me. I'm on the Kings. I might actually double dip that with your De'Aaron Fox spot too. I like that look quite a bit there. I love how you're talking about these guys getting roasted. Does seem like a good point prop spot there. I love the point prop in this game, especially seeing overs. I'm just a little burnt about yesterday. I looked at the Giannis prop too, over 31.5 points. Giannis seemed like a decent spot out there, knowing that these two teams just don't play any defense when they go ahead. It must be just a mutual unspoken word. Like, we're going to play each other. Fuck defense. Let's just go out there and hoop.
The craziest thing is, out of the top 5 most bet on point prop overs tonight, 3 of them are in this game. So if you're betting the under, just don't watch the game. Go to sleep and wake up to either your bank account going up or down.
Yeah, I think. And Kelly V says, and note tomorrow, Sac won 7 of 8 versus the Lakers. So looks like a little on deck spot for the Sacramento Kings. Billy, let's close it up here with the 10 p.m. special, the Timberwolves versus the Clip Show. The LA Clippers hosting this Minnesota Timberwolves. We've got frozen line, 6.5. We opened with 50% of the bets, 56% of the cash. We've got no movement on this Timberwolves line despite the money coming in on them. The total has dropped from 218.5 down to 215s with 63% of the bets on the over. I'm going to have to reach out to these fuckers about this cash flow. This is like the 3rd day in a row that there's been no cash splits on a lot of these games.
Well, this game, you can't even bet it without the injury news report.
That's kind of what I had this. I was leaning to Minnesota in this game, just full disclosure. I couldn't pull the trigger and highlight them, though, because you don't know who the hell's playing. And this is very much, if you like Minnesota, if you don't care about the injuries, and I'm very much a guy that doesn't give too much of a shit. Some guys will count for me, but
I do. Like Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards, the 2 questionables on the team, and Kyle Anderson. I mean, shit, that's the whole fucking team.
In this game with this team, that does matter because there's nobody else left at that point. They're G League at that point if they can't get these guys rolling. I saw this one. I saw the Timberwolves 19-1 when they're going against the team they lost to the last meeting as a favorite. Big spot for them to kind of come back in the bounce back situation. But who the hell's playing? I was leaning to the 6.5. I was that close to pulling the trigger. I was close to pulling the trigger on the over. I just can't get my hands around it there. Kelly V says, Mike, over Harden assist. Yeah, I mean, that's an autoplay for me until further notice. All he does is go out there and play team ball, which is fucking crazy considering how his career started with when he was in Houston and what he's done since then. But yeah, I love the Harden over assist. He's been nothing but a money maker for us. And again, without the lineups being confirmed, I can't even get a number on that yet. So any thoughts, Billy? Tell us what you're thinking here with this game, and then we'll get this thing wrapped up.
This is the game that I've circled, obviously, for the injury news report, but let Anthony Edwards, Kyle Anderson, and Rudy Gobert all be in, and this line go down to like 4.5, 5. Probably going to fuck around and take the Clippers here in this spot here. If you remember the second to last time that these two teams played was the day after the Super Bowl, where James Harden was all fucked up with Michael Rubin, and he fucking ended up playing the next day in it was like a primetime TV game. They got blown out 121-100, and then they're like, all right, we're gonna hold back the horses. Then they played like a week later, and they ended up beating them 89-88. A game where the Clippers were kind of dogging throughout that whole entire game. I actually think this is just a good setup spot. It's like when the little brother and the big brother start going at it, but then the little brother starts winning a little bit, and everyone's looking at themselves like, all right, let's get our shit together. And we're going to take advantage of the little brother. They might not be as fully healthy. Granted, Naz Reid is making a great 6 man of the year campaign run here for the Minnesota Timberwolves with Karl Anthony Towns out. He's just been everything for the Timberwolves of right now. He's been like their second leading scorer behind Anthony Edwards. It's just Ty Lue. This is an eye test thing. Ty Lue did something in the last game that he didn't do in the first game. And he said, Zubac, you're my guy, but bro, you're about to go sit on the bench and you're not about to play this game. And the Clippers have really killed the Timberwolves with small lineups. And I think that's going to come back to haunt the Timberwolves tonight if Gobert's in there. I think that the Clippers are going to go small. They're going to go with more of a shooting prowess type of lineup. You're going to see James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Trey Mann, and Norman Powell out there. And they're just going to keep on shooting that bitch until I don't think the Wolves have enough offense production to keep up with the Clippers here. I like the Clippers team total over and the Clippers to win this one.
I like it. Waiting for injury confirmations, though, right?
Yeah, gotta wait for injury confirmations. This is the last game of the night. Definitely not a force type of bet. And if the bookies can't give us the starting lineup, we don't ask for a lot here in the sports betting world, but at least just give us the starting lineup. At least get our juices flowing. Like, you don't have to post the props. We can project it.
That's what I don't need to see the props for the 10 o'clock game until 9 if that's how you're going to do me, but at least give me something here to work with. And all righty. Well, that's it. I see our guy Bo Jackson likes the T-Wolves on the money line. How about that? He says fuck the lineups. He's going T-Wolves money line for big Bo Jackson to get the job done tonight out there. AOD says fuck the bookies. Billy, let's go. Let's give him a recap here, and then I'll let you start here. Give him this recap, what you're like tonight. What are you locking down? I know you got the Aaron Fox over 33.5 points and assists. What else is on the card? Tell them what you got going on and where they can find you.
Yeah, NBA-wise, we took the Aaron Fox over 33.5 points and assists and the Knicks minus the 6. NCAA-wise, we went with Jacksonville State there in the Conference USA tournament there. That line's going up second by second, so if you guys want to get on it now. And then hard lean on the Zags. So we're rolling in and some money's hitting on these early spots and we're cheesing and we're feeling good. The last time it was one of my biggest bets of the year was Gonzaga being dogs against St. Mary's. It was wrong team favorite at St. Mary's, one of the biggest profits I made this year. And I'm thinking about going back to the wall. I think Gonzaga is better than St. Mary's.
Yeah, I'm of the same accord with that, Billy. I'll tell you, I've been burnt a couple of times now by the Zags, both sides of it. So I'm very, very snake bitten here. I'll tell you guys, I'll recap from the bottom up. I've got the Kings money line -112, the Utah Jazz +6.5, Houston -3, OKC -5.5, and Billy, I got you 5.5 on the Knicks. I got the 6 on the Sixers, though. There are some line shopping variances out there, so we'll both benefit from that. Nicholls State under 138.5 for me. Montana State over 134. The NHL, we open it up. Colorado over 6.5. The Dallas Stars -110. Chicago -110. Pittsburgh -115. And boy, I'm glad I added him. The Buffalo Sabres -125 and the under 6.5 in that game. It's 3-1 in the first period. Take note of who scored for the Sabres. Bo Byram's on the board again. We talked about him at the start of the show, Billy. What's cooking for you this weekend? What's going on? MMA, UFC. What's the world of Billy Briz look like?
Yeah, we got UFC popping off this weekend. We're back inside the UFC Apex, and it's going to be an early card. So it's going to be an action-packed weekend here at Pub Sports Radio. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. We have the Saturday college basketball show popping off probably around the same exact time as the UFC card. UFC is like at 1 o'clock this weekend.
Oh, damn. It's that early, huh?
Yeah, like it's like we're talking about main event done 4 o'clock. Like
as opposed to 2:30, 3 a.m. You know, that's kind of I prefer to be on that side. I don't know. I kind of like it in the middle. Maybe like
I did not like I liked the card obviously because we made money, but it was like one of those like, damn, man, you're telling me I went to sleep at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning because of the spring forward thing.
I woke up that next day and I was like, what the hell time is it? It took me, I was like, why do I feel so tired as I'm looking around? Like, you know, the phones and things automatically update. So I'm like, all right, everything's telling me what time it is.
Dutch hit me up about doing a show. It's like, man, after a UFC event and spring forward, I have to pass on this one.
Oh, I was on there with him too. I was like, man, I can't believe it. So it took me until an hour before the show to realize that we lost that hour because of spring forward. I knew it. I was just in such a fog and a haze from that night before that I couldn't get my head and my ass wired together, so to speak. But Billy, thanks for coming on tonight. What a show we got. We got a nice big card laid out there for everybody to take advantage of, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Shout out to Perfect Rotation. Nicholas Handy giving us the update there in the Sabres game. AOD in the house. Bo Jackson, Marcus McCarthy, Alec Dirks in the house. Kelly V. The crew was rocking with us tonight. Swizz up in there. El Cervix says money, money, money. Appreciate all you guys. Troy, of course, being in the house. Nasty Nate, a.k.a. Mr. Trifecta. Nunya, 4-1 now in the Sabres. Time to shut her down. Get ourselves some cash. Go enjoy it the rest of your nights. And we will see everybody back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pub Sports Radio. Get on there. Subscribe if you haven't already done so through the YouTube channel. Turn your notifications on. When we go live, you'll be in the know. Pop-up shows like what happened Sunday and all throughout the week here. Shout out Pub Sports Radio, our guy Jeff Slaughter. And all you guys in the chat building this community, we appreciate everybody. T on the ones and twos. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Stay pubbing, baby.